welcome back to another amazing episode of Unapologetically Shaun. I'm your host, Shaun, of course, and on this podcast we talk about everything self-care, mental health awareness, and a little sprinkle of pop culture. I am gonna bring a new episode probably after this episode of some pop culture because I have some things to talk about and some things are coming up and things have passed. So just so you know, that's gonna be another episode of some pop culture coming up. But today's episode is gonna be focused on motherhood. I know there's a lot of mothers out there, so I just want to focus more on the mothers and how we experience our ups and downs being mothers. All right. Oh, and also I need to let you know that we are available on 7 listening platforms, including YouTube, as of course. So we're available on Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, thank God, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Spotify. So now you know you can listen to me every week. I'm going to try to do weekly episodes, maybe 2 in a week. So that's what I'm striving to do. But yes, so you can listen to me on all of those lovely platforms. So let's get into today's topic, the ups and downs of motherhood. Now I'm going to be breaking down a few different topics or whatever when it comes to motherhood, such as, us having mom guilt, learning to re-love ourselves, learning to find ourselves again after having children. I'm going to talk about postpartum depression. I'm going to talk about, of course, the importance of self-care and also judgment that mothers always face. So if you're interested in any of those topics and if you relate to any of those topics, keep listening because this is going to be an explosive episode. Because yes, us mothers, we do go through a whole lot. And I just want you to know that I relate because I'm a mother too. So stay tuned. All right. So let's get into the mom guilt that we all face. It is crazy that we have to experience so much guilt when it comes to having children. Such as like the littlest things. You feel guilty when you go to the store, when you leave your kids for a mini vacation. You feel guilty that you left them. Like, you feel guilty about the littlest thing. You might feel guilty that you yelled because you're frustrated and the kid made you frustrated, and you feel guilty like, oh my God, what would I do to my child like that? I've done it so many times. And also, even, having low patience, having children definitely helps you learn how to have patience. But it's crazy, like we feel guilty about a whole lot of things, even feel guilty. Let me tell you a little story. Circling back, when I had my first son, I felt so guilty of even buying myself something because I felt like I have to take care of this other human being and everything I have has to go to this human being that I created in my body. So I used to feel guilty about just the littlest, simplest things. Like, even thinking of myself, I felt guilty like, oh man, I'm being selfish. I have to always think about my children. My children come before me, come before everything in my life. So that's something that I experienced when it comes to mom guilt. And I know you all feel that way in some way, especially when you have your first child. You feel guilty about a lot of things. So I just want to let you know that it's practically normal to feel that way because this human being is an extension from you, and you have to feel like, oh wow, I have to take care of this person because I created this person. I brought this person into this world, so I have to make sure this person is okay. But also you have to think about yourself too. You have to learn how to put yourself first. And I've been a mother almost 8 years. It'll be 8 years in February. I've been a mother for 8 years. Can you believe that? And I am just now after 8 years learning how to put myself first, learning how to love myself, because it took a lot. I feel like God placed my children in my life to teach me a whole lot of things, to teach me how to love myself, teach me how to love others, teach me how to be patient, teach me how to think of ways to, I don't know, think of ways to take care of this little human being, you know? And it's just crazy. And also, having children also taught me how to have drive, have ambition, really push myself. That's what my children taught me. And also, they taught me how to love myself. So I'm so grateful that I have my children in my life. They are the best thing that ever happened to me. And I don't want to go too much into that, but that's one thing that I wanted to talk about. Also, I want to talk about postpartum depression. And I'm going to give you my example of what I experienced postpartum depression. I experienced it with my first child only because I feel like I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue what I was doing. I barely even babysat before I even had a kid. So it was like so foreign to me. Like, I was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? And I noticed, like, I already have mental health. I won't say, like, I have some issues when it comes to mental health. I'm not ashamed to say that. So my moods are always up and down, up and down. So after I had my first son, of course your hormones all out of whack. And yeah, they were all out of whack. I just was like, what did I get myself into? I was going crazy. I wasn't to the point where, you know, some women feel suicidal. I wasn't in that type of position, but I really was at a point where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, God, you sure you did the right thing? But after I learned, and I think over time, once I had my second child, I felt like I was a pro, so I knew what I was doing. But yeah, I definitely experienced postpartum depression, and it was very tough. But you know, God brought me through it, and I'm so grateful for it. So if anybody that's listening ever have been through postpartum or currently going through it, seek help for sure, because never feel ashamed if you feel like you're going through something. Never feel ashamed to talk to somebody, because you never know, God could place that person in your life to help you, you know, get through it. So don't be ashamed to talk to somebody if you're going through it. Now let's talk about finding yourself outside of your children, you know. And I told you before that I'm going through that now. I'm literally finding myself. I'm 29 and I'm just now taking the time to find myself as an individual, because you can get so wrapped up in being a mother that you'll forget about yourself. And it's so many people that don't really figure out who they are until their kids are out the house, going to college, and now they're empty nesters and they don't know who they are. Just like with married couples that put their children before anything, and then once their kids leave, they don't even like each other, or they don't even know each other, because they were so consumed with the children that they forgot about themselves. So my advice to you is, you need to find yourself. No matter how many kids you have to put time aside for yourself, because if you don't, you will lose yourself and your children. And then some people, they start living through their children, and then they forcing their dreams on their children, and their children don't get a chance to live their life. You have to realize that the children that you had, they're going to have their own life. So you're not going to be able to dictate, when they get older, you're not going to be able to dictate what they do with their life, because it's going to be their life. It's not yours. So that's why you have to find yourself. in the midst of it all, you know? So I feel like ways to find yourself, you could try to, you know, do different hobbies that you always wanted to do. Create a bucket list, you know, even if you take an hour out of your day, especially when you have small children, it's kind of hard to spend some time with yourself. But even if it takes like 5 minutes, like you go in the bathroom, you go in the room and shut the door, you have to take some time for yourself or you will lose yourself, and it's very hard to get yourself back. So never put anything before yourself, because if you're not happy, then how can your children be happy? They don't want to see their mommy sad. They don't want to see her just unhappy and unfulfilled, because that will affect them too. You are their biggest role model when you look at it at the end of the day. So if they see a happy mother, they're going to be happy themselves, because they're going to see that example of what it's like to be happy. So just be that amazing role model for your children. That's all that I say. So that's why I say it's important to have self-care. Create you a self-care regimen. Create you a self-care day. You know, if you are with the father, if you're not with the father, if somebody can babysit your child, see if you can get a babysitter just to do something for yourself. Go take yourself on a date. You know, simple stuff like that, so you can get to know who you are, and you are better off. We are trying to raise happy children. So you can't raise a happy child if you're unhappy, if you're unfulfilled, if you're miserable, if you're depressed, if you're all of those things. How can you raise a happy child? Think about that, you know? I hope this episode really helped you understand that motherhood is amazing, but there are downsides to being a mother. It's hard, especially when you get people always asking you, okay, you have one child. Oh, when are you going to have another one? Oh, you have another child. Oh, when are you going to have the third one? Oh, you have 2 boys. When are you going to have a girl? Like, that gets annoying. I get that all the time. But, you know, sometimes you get all that unsolicited advice from people telling you how to raise your kid and all of that, and it's like, it gets very annoying, but you gonna get that. That's just part of it, you know. So just focus on you and your child, and focus on being a better person overall, because if you're a better person, then you can be a better mother for your child. You can be a better role model. I hope I'm not rambling on, you know. I hope that you got something out of this episode, because motherhood is amazing, like I said before, but it's more amazing when you're happy, and that's what's most important. So make sure you always protect your peace. If it costs you your peace, is too expensive. That's all I say. That's one of my mottos. So protect your peace, find your happiness, be a great mother. Don't let people guilt you into feeling like you're not a good mother because you make little mistakes. Everybody makes a mistake. There is no rule book on how to be a parent. I tell people that all the time. There is no book on that can tell you every little thing on being a parent. There's none. I don't think nobody can write it but God. Because you just learn as you go, you know. Long as you are happy, healthy, and your child is happy and healthy, you're on the right track, you know. So keep striving, keep being a great mother. And thank you for listening to this is episode 4, actually. It's called Ups and Downs of Motherhood. So thank you for listening to Unapologetically Shaun podcast every week. And I will be back with another episode. And it's definitely going to be about pop culture. Probably about some music, because we have a release coming out on Friday. Aaliyah's self-titled album's coming out on Friday. So we'll talk about that. And also, I think I'm probably going to talk about Drake album too, and how I feel about that as well. And what else? Oh, and I'm going to talk about the new Candyman as well. I went to go see it, and I think I'm going to do a review on that one. So if you haven't seen it, it's definitely going to be a spoiler alert. So think about that before you listen to it. I'm rambling on. But I hope you gained something from this podcast. And thank you again. All right. I will be back with another episode soon. And have a great week. All right. Bye.